Hi, my rays of light, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome anyone else who is newly listening to my channel and being here. Thank you so much. I want to start off this reading reading Wallace, Notorious B.I.G, Biggie Smalls, by saying a prayer. I don't know why I'm starting off this reading, as most readings I don't, but I'm being told by my spirit guides and by the spirit guides that are with Notorious B.I.G. Dear Heavenly Father, I ask for protection during this reading. I ask that all the truth comes through. I ask for some peace and some answers to the puzzles and the questions that a lot of his fans may have had. Heavenly Father, thank you so much. Many blessings. Amen. Okay, so I got that out of the way. I'm not a person to normally pray like more of a religious type of prayer. I always do more spiritual. In this case, I had to do the prayer. So the first thing that I'm going to give you insight on, a lot of people want to know, a lot of you may not know, the younger generations may not know, but mostly everybody should know who Notorious or Biggie Smalls was. He was a famous rapper, songwriter, producer. The list goes on. The man was fully talented, completely talented. Back in the 90s, if you're familiar with, the situation, there was a lot of feud between East Coast, West Coast, between B.I.G, Biggie, and I'm going to just call him Biggie for the purpose of this reading, and Tupac Shakur, Tupac. There was a lot of also speculation that, that Biggie was involved in the murder of Tupac, and so there's been a lot of speculation. Both were also speculated to be in gangs, whether it's known or not, or be affiliated with either the Bloods or the Crips, etc. So I'm here to just give you a little bit of the backstory, and then I'm going to give you the psychic insight, the medium portion that's coming through. Okay, so immediately what I'm getting from Biggie is that he is sorry. He's apologizing to the love of his life. He's apologizing to that special woman. She knows who she is. He's apologizing to all his fans that this is not the way that he would have gone out, wanted to go out. He was very upset, very angry when he passed. I don't feel like he was able to cross over because this was such a violent manner, and he just struggled to cross over. He has crossed over now. It's been a couple of years, like several years, since his passing. I feel like within 2 years or 3, he's crossed over after passing. So he's been on the other side for quite some time already, but it wasn't an easy transition. There was a lot of hate, a lot of anger on his part. When he was alive, he was someone that I feel like was a big teddy bear, but on the exterior he had to be tough. He had a lot of brotherhood. He's talking about his brothers. I don't know if this is like the gang, like gang members or just people that he clicked with in his record, in the industry, in the music industry, like P. Diddy and some of the other people in his entourage that he had. I'm definitely getting that this was an inside job, okay? This was definitely an inside job. Only thing he's revealing to me is that people within his circle are the ones that did this to him. This wasn't over a gang, East Coast, West Coast type of thing. This was not that. He's talking about money. He's also talking about a hit. He would have, I don't know what Biggie was involved in. Like I said, I feel like he was a lot of danger around him. These guys didn't really play. They would have carried weapons on them as well. There would have been a lot of threats months before he even got taken out, before his assassination. I get a lot of heavy altercations, arguments, threats being given. This would have been in the form of phone calls. This would have been through face-to-face confrontations with people in different locations and messengers coming. I hate to say this on camera because I don't know if the people that are listening that are close to him would know any of this or would be able to give any validity. And this is so like I don't want to discuss it because it's dangerous. It's very scary. But he's talking about taking somebody out. Like, that was the mentality. It was a very gangster, very mafia type of mentality. So I don't know like who he was angry at or upset. This was not Tupac. This was somebody else. I don't know if he had made plans to take somebody out. And what I feel like is somebody within the circle was actually working two sides, okay? Somebody within his social circle was working for Biggie and was working simultaneously for this other person, which shall remain unnamed. But it is somebody that is in the rapper type of music industry, etc. Had connections to this mafia, to this organization. And what I'm getting from him very strongly is that that person was somehow infiltrating this clique that Biggie had, and they would have known that he was planning something. So in order for them to prevent this, or like, I'm going to take him out before he takes me out. So there's definitely, this was very dangerous. It was beyond the music, beyond gangs. This was like a hit that Biggie would have been planning for this other gentleman. There was definitely like some plans to take someone out. And I just get chills to the core, to my bones when I'm talking about this. And again, he's sorry for this. Like, he struggled with all of this because now, like, in spirit form, he can see how much this hurt everybody, especially his family and his friends and just people that knew Biggie and knew who he was. But at this time, the reason he's saying there was some kind of feud going on between this other person and himself, and there was money involved in all of this, because I'm seeing money, and that's what's coming through very strong. There was a lot of dirt surrounding money being owed or money being paid. Who was going to, or maybe that was the money that was to pay this person to do the hit on the other guy. But I am getting that the other person's clique or crew, I'm going to call it a crew or gang, whatever you want to call it, found out. And I think Biggie thought maybe he didn't take things very seriously. He knew people were after him, but he also thought that his people that were in the van, like all those people and the people that, were like following Biggie that were part of the crew, had his back. But obviously that wasn't the case. There was a rat among those people that was in the group, and that rat was basically giving information over to the other people, because they had to have known what location he was going, where he was going to be meeting up at, and where that van was going, for them to just come, and know the location and, fire shots. And for those of you that are not aware, there was 4 shots. 3 of them were not supposedly lethal, but the 4th one was. It punctured, the abdomen somewhere along that way, hit the liver, the heart, and all those vital organs. And supposedly he died on the operating table. They had to do an emergency procedure, but he died later there at the hospital. But I am getting there's a lot of confusion when all of this was happening. I don't know if his heart stopped in the vehicle when he was shot, because I feel like he would have transitioned, or his heart would have, I don't know if they performed CPR there, because I feel like he would have already crossed over when he was in the van. Like, his heart would have stopped and he would have crossed over, and I feel like it was a struggle to come back to his body, not to continue to live. Because there are people that get shot the way Biggie does, and sometimes they can survive. But I feel like in his case, his soul was ready to depart. He also shows me a lot of things that he had a lot of health issues. I feel like he would have had diabetes. This would have been something probably unknown. I don't feel like he was the type to check himself at the doctor. He also would have had an enlarged heart. He is telling me, and don't come for me in the comments, I'm not, making none of this up. He's telling me that if he wouldn't have gone then through this way, which he lived a very dangerous life, and he lived his life on the edge. He knew that there was danger in all of this, in this game. That's what he's calling calling it, and it's talking about the rap game, and that this was all part of that game, but he is telling me that if he would have not passed that way, he would eventually have had a major heart attack, and he would have still died in his 20s. He wasn't taking care of himself. He was doing substances. He was involved in a lot of smoking. If he wasn't smoking, it was secondhand, but I see smoke. So I don't know if he smoked like cigars or like cigarettes. I don't know, but I get a lot of, and a very fatty and greasy foods. Like, he was at a very young age with obesity and, things that were more health related. He would have still had an exit at some point at a very young age, because he wasn't going to make changes. He was very stubborn, and people that know Biggie knows that he was very, very stubborn. He wouldn't have changed anything that he would have done, and you could tell him nothing. Like, people didn't want to, come up against Biggie and tell him stuff, because ultimately he would listen to you, but then he would give you a piece of his mind. And that's how I'm interpreting him. Like, I could be wrong on his personality, but that's how I am interpreting it. He was very, like, I laid down the law. I am, going to be respected. You're not going to disrespect me. That kind of mentality. But his vulnerability were women. That was where his vulnerability was, and the ability to love. He wanted to be the lover, and he wanted to be loved. There's a lot of also, like, it's very weird, because I feel like there was a female that would have profited after his death, or would have come into some kind of money. I don't know where his money went afterwards, but he's showing me a female with getting some of his money. So there's somebody that would have gotten some kind of money or compensation from this. And then there would have been somebody else that would have hooked up with this woman, or wanting to be like her handler, etc. Like, so whoever he was communicating with, whoever he was in a relationship with, like I said, I don't know all about him. I know that him and Lil' Kim had history, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know if this is her that he is referring to. But I do see that. And I feel like after his passing, things were not right for the long time. There was a lot of fear among the crew that he had, like P. Diddy and all the other people that were in his crew. There was a lot of fear that they could be next, that if they opened their mouth, because one of them, someone in the crew, like I said, was the rat. Someone was playing two teams, two sides, but it was more for the other side, but was being the rat for Biggie. And I see here that there was no protection. Like, this was all methodically planned out. Believe it or not, Biggie and Tupac are on the other side. Tupac was there for Biggie when he crossed over. They were like brothers on the other side. So whatever beef they had here, they squashed that. That's what I'm seeing. Like, they squashed that on the other side. And they are at peace with one another. It was all games. Biggie's talking about this being a game. I don't know if he used that kind of language, if he, this was all a game. That's what he's talking about. This was all a game. And a lot of danger, a lot of regret from all of this. I don't know if he gifted someone. This would have been like a female. But he is showing me like there would have been some kind of gift, jewelry that he would have given to somebody else, a female that he cared about, and that she still has that, or something about his chain was one of his jewelry items. I feel like it's like a necklace or a chain would be in her possession to this day, or somebody has it in their possession, but it is a female energy is what I'm getting. A lot of people wanted the truth. They were seeking the truth and they couldn't get it, so they were very much like fans and people. This has always been very upsetting for a lot of people. And so a lot of people still hold grudges, and he doesn't want them to hold those grudges and that bitterness and release it. He wants them to release it. He has come to Lil' Kim. He has come to Lil' Kim. That's what he's telling me. He has visited her in her dreams. He has been with her. He still loves her to this very day. So whatever, I don't know how their relationship was before his passing, but he loves her. That was one of his true loves. And he keeps showing me that, in the hospital, there was something done with him in the hospital. I don't know, like, if they also, like, they took too much time is what I'm hearing. If they would have rushed a little bit sooner, there was a possibility he could have been saved, regardless of what was put in the autopsy, what was given. they could have saved him. But another contributing factor that would have been in his system were drugs. There would have been some kind of substances in his system. I don't know if the autopsy report shows this, or they chose to keep it secretive. But I see that. And there's something about a wallet. He keeps showing me a wallet. The wallet. He keeps saying the wallet. Either there was something missing from the wallet that was taken, that they never found, the family or whoever got his belongings never saw, or there was something in there, and there was like a little sheet of paper, some writing that is missing. So I don't know. This is so weird how it's coming through, but that's what I'm getting. Like he's telling me that justice has been carried out in many ways. So I don't know what that means either. It could be that the person that did this to him is paying, and somebody that he loved has been taken out, or somebody that, or that person has faced some kind of legal troubles. But I feel like they will meet again in the afterlife, and then they will have to pay their consequences there, and Biggie will be there, for that moment to see it. Because even though he is at rest right now, there is this karmic, portion that they still have to go through in the afterlife. And that's what I'm getting. And that's the main message here. He wants people to remember him for his music and for his showmanship, and who he was. He doesn't want other people to remember him as, the bad guy, or, someone that was very violent. Because I feel like he had his temper. He's telling me he had his temper and he had his moods. But at the end of the day, all that mattered was the love that he had for people and for his music. That the music was everything. And I don't know what the connection to a Tootsie Roll is. That is crazy, because I keep seeing Tootsie Rolls. He's showing me Tootsie Rolls. So I don't know what the Tootsie Roll is. That an inside joke? Maybe only the people close to him would know. But he keeps referring to a Tootsie Roll, candy. So I don't know. But that's what I'm being shown. But I really I'm glad that I postponed this reading for a long time, only because I didn't feel like it was time. Today I felt like I could connect with him. So I hope all of Biggie's fans enjoyed this reading. I hope that people close to him that loved him can find some solace and peace with this reading. And I do hope that everyone that's my ray of light here on my channel enjoyed this, where they could get some kind of connection back to Biggie, because I feel like he still lives on with us. He's still a great guy, regardless of all his shortcomings and all of the flaws that he had. None of us are perfect. We all have our own flaws, etc. He made mistakes. He's already paid for them. He's learned and grown on the other side, and that's what he wants for people to do. He says all of this rivalry, this gang violence, it needs to stop. It taking how he's saying is like people wanting to be gods and taking other people's lives, that needs to stop. So I don't know if later on there's going to be like another album of unreleased tracks, or like a remake, like some type of remake of his music meshed with other artists. But there's something about an album, possibly unreleased tracks or something that they have, like I feel like a Biggie, some recordings or something that is going to be released eventually. But he'll always be respected, in the industry, and always be known for, his music. So blessings and love and light. Have an amazing, amazing day or night wherever you are in the world. Thank you.